I'm out in the water, come jump right in, 'cause we going farther than we ever been. I'm out in the water, come jump right in, we going farther than we ever been.
Ooh, yes. Welcome back. Ocean Waves, episode 52. 52 weeks, 52 episodes, 1 year. Officially anniversary of Ocean Waves. By golly, my golly, we did it. No, it's definitely crazy. I feel great about it. Came so far in some ways, 3 different studios setups so far. Different editing things I've gone through, adding the nah and we had technical difficulties one time. We had a couple different little mess ups, I guess, that you would say at times, and then the amount of times that we'd have to, I don't want to cut anything out usually, but then there's certain things that you have to, like location and name and stuff like that. Places certain places you don't want to name, or you don't want to name certain people, things like that. So that happens, but in the beginning, there was more, I guess, slip ups or whatever, where it would just it would accidentally come out. Now it's gotten better. So as far as that goes, that part of the editing has gotten less, but yeah, man, 52, 1 year. That just shows. I feel like that shows a big representation of perseverance and sticking to it, highs, lows, something that you want to achieve, something you believe in, to do it for a whole year, and it wasn't perfect, and there was points where we might have missed a week, 2 weeks here, but to be a year later and to have 52 episodes, 1 per week, which was what I wanted to start with, and the growth of that, and putting all the time I put in for it to be where it is now, and even to have, I dropped one earlier and 4 people had already watched it, and 1 comment, I'll get to that later, already, that's super dope. And then usually it gets to 30 views, each episode. So and some have more, some have less, but so it shows that there's people out there that are enjoying Ocean Waves. It's in those certain lives, it's some sort of influence on them, or an hour or 2 hours they can listen and open up new thoughts, maybe, or just kind of vibe with whatever is going on in the room and in each episode. So I really appreciate anyone who's watched all of them, any of them, anyone who comments. Thank you all really for putting the time, giving me your time, because if there was always 0, it might be a little disheartening. But to see that there's it, I started it with the knowledge of knowing that I have a purpose in this, and I have something to give, and this is something I'm supposed to be doing. But then to have, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 1 million, but to have any feedback at all, and to see that there are people that are watching is amazing, and I'm proud to say that I did it for the whole year, and we made it, and we're going to keep going, and it's going to keep going. But to show to anyone who's watching, anything that you want to do, and just put your mind to it and put in the time and the effort, and find it's not always going to be easy, but and it might not always go exactly how you think it might go or how you plan it out, but if you continue on the course and continue working at it, you'll get you'll see progression, and then eventually you'll get to where you want to be, or you realize that you're exactly where you are, where you want to be, you know. So, you know, it feels good. 50 of these guys, 52 a whole year. I'm proud to say that for sure. I'm happy that we got here, and I'm excited to continue on. I'm excited to catch up. Finally, this will be the catch up right here and get back on track. Wednesdays at noon. That's really the real goal. Wednesdays at noon, you know. So just lock in with that, and continue on spreading thoughts and feelings, and having new people on, and the crew who's been on before, and you know, just having good conversation, exploring ideas, and hopefully inspiring others to do what they want to do, or to follow their dreams, or to pursue the things that they want to pursue, versus, you know, getting caught up in that 9 to 5 cycle of life where you're working, you become here to work versus here to live. You know, you definitely don't want to fully dive in that. Like, everyone's got to work, obviously, in certain ways, and we have to have money for this society and to be able to eat and stuff, have a house and stuff. So obviously there's those things, but you know, it's easy to get trapped into the cycles of getting money and having those things, you know. So yeah, dude, 52 episodes, we're here. Shit, what do we want to talk about today, man? Shit, I guess we can. I gotta look this one up because it was a long comment, but we had from yesterday's episode. I put it out today. I responded to. Sorry, I'm just typing in Oceans on Arrival YouTube here. Sorry for the dead audio, guys. Give you a second to think on your own for a second. Alright. 4 views today. So we got 1 comment on it. And the comment from the one before was talking about how RFK endorsed Trump. And I spoke what I had to speak on. So here we go. Aaron Mace responded. Watched it 3 hours ago. Appreciate you very much. Watching right away. That's fucking awesome. And of course I'm gonna respond, and I'm glad to have this little conversation here. So alright, so he goes, thanks for at Aaron Mace says, thanks for responding, dude. For real, shit seems shady. Legit felt backstabbed by RFK endorsing a guy that goes against what RFK cares about the most, even if it is a strategic move. Endorsed neither because he detests both parties. Both parties steal from the people. Trump is no exception to me. Okay. Since the war in Ukraine, the gas prices shot up. Dems did what they could to lower the price, but it was still super high, and then 2 years later it just went down. National inflation is low, yet prices for food are skyrocketing. Oligopolies seem to be just price gouging, because what are you going to do? Not eat? True. The hospital thing was a bad policy, ultimately, because an x-ray, for example, doesn't cost the same amount most every time. There could be more complex cases, bigger imaging machines need it, and then the issue of insurance accepting fucks it all up, because they get to decide what they will or won't pay for, making the policy way too difficult to provide clarity for customers. I see. Well, that's a lot to unpack. Let me just start by saying I don't spend a lot of time like listening to what all these people are saying and stuff, because I do feel that it's like the Hunger Games type vibe, where there's a lot of popcorn in the mix. But I would say that definitely if you were, I can tell that one, you're passionate about this, and which rightly so. I mean, it's a big deal. It's the presidency, it's democracy, and in some ways what America holds valuable, right? But let's see, RFK endorsing him. Yeah, I could see just him not endorsing anyone. I can see why you say that. And just it be um just leave it, don't endorse, but just kind of just let it play out. And I can see that, but at the same time, in some ways, like anyone who, if he had a conversation with Trump, if he does feel like Trump might be the better option for per se, if he doesn't say anything, the people that would vote for him maybe go to a side that he doesn't want, or and then he would, so if you don't want people to go to the side that you don't like, you don't want your followers to go to the side that you don't believe in as much as the other, so you might want to point like, oh, let me just get those people over there, in but in some ways people could, I guess he could have said no, not to either, but at the same time, like, if he really believes that if this one side is so bad that like I have to say this side, then it's like, it's lesser two evils in that case, and then for me personally, like, it just life felt better as far as like groceries and all that stuff when Trump was in versus like this Biden administration. So I feel like, so I don't know, but I don't know them. I don't know. They obviously, I think RFK should be the person. It is tough that he endorsed Trump and dropped out, but if he didn't think he was going to win, but at the end of the day, Trump does only have 4 years, so he should have a better chance if Trump does win to become president in the end. So I see the thing about the hospitals, and yeah, but just like anything, like if you take something away and it's starting, like, for instance, for music, if you make like two sounds and then you're like, oh, it doesn't work, then you delete it, then you might have missed, like, you didn't get a chance to keep working to get it farther, right? And it could have been one of the best songs ever, or you could have found a way to work it out. Like, not everything that's supposed to doesn't happen just like right away. Sometimes it needs more. But anything that starts to open the door on transparency, I feel like is good in any way. Like transparency on prices and transparency with the bills, even the insurance, all this stuff. Transparency with your food. I think that all that should be available, and any door that opens the furtherness of transparency, then I think that is a good thing versus just like shutting it down completely and then there's no like follow-up idea, but, and on another thing, if, like, for instance, like, if, let's just say that, like, if Trump did actually win the second time and they mail him back, all that stuff, if RFK does endorse Trump and all those people go there, then it's harder to do it again versus, like, letting it play out fairly, if there's ever fairly, So I can definitely tell that you're passionate about it. It's I do. I mean, you have every right to be, and it is. It is tough. That RFK did drop out, I guess, and endorse Trump, but it didn't seem like he was actually getting a fair fight. And I'm sure he's not a dumb guy. And if he had a conversation with each person, maybe Trump offered more, you know, versus nothing at all. So I don't know, but it's definitely a shitty situation altogether. We're definitely in a weird time, who knows what's going to happen as it all unfolds. Obviously I believe in peace and harmony and shit like that. So I don't think, but I don't think we're going to get that right in this election. So, I don't know who you end up voting for now. If you don't like either candidate, I guess you don't. I guess you don't vote. And that's the thing. What if 0 people voted? Then I guess they'll be like, oh, you don't want to vote, then you don't get to anymore. But then if we don't get to at all anyway, then, it's unraveling conversation. So, but I do appreciate, I don't know, I'm kind of stalling on my thoughts about it right now. It's definitely weird. And I definitely think that overall quality of life was better in a previous presidential reign, I guess, before this one. So if I'm really looking at it, the blue side seems way more shady in this one than the other one. And they both both waters might be poisoned, but one feels like you might die faster if you drink it. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, but thank you very much for commenting. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for watching right away. Happy to hear your opinions and happy that you listened to mine and ours as a whole. So, yeah, but I don't know, the election shit. Fuck the election shit. Let's talk about some other shit. Yeah, man. I definitely want to reiterate, like, being here right now, recording 52, knowing it's going to come out tomorrow, might not be the best one ever, but it's still showing perseverance and putting your mind to something and following through with your ideas and following through what you're going to say or what you say you're going to do, And I think that, and right now there's only 4 people on the last one so far, but 30 people average, right? 30 views. But that doesn't mean that that's where it caps off. Even if no matter where it caps off at, I don't think it ever will, because I think it'll always continue to grow. I think we're going to continue to grow, be better. I'm going to grow and be better. The studio will grow and be better. The guests will grow. And I'm not going to say be better, because everyone has something to offer, and everyone's got something to give and something for the world. So as long as people are in tune with that and doing that, I can't compare one to another. And I think that's a lot of times what people do. I think a lot of people compare themselves or their work or their art or whatever to others, but it's like they're not running your race. You're in your own lane. You got your own thing. Like, someone's gonna do it like this and someone's gonna do it like that. And sometimes they merge and they're similar and something beautiful comes out of having that. But if you are confident in who you are and happy to be who you are, and doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, like you're here to do, it just overall you'll feel better. You don't worry about where other people are, or things like that, or what they're doing, because you're content with yourself and you're not worried about. You're good. It doesn't concern you because you're doing what you're doing. But a lot of people will be like, oh, he's faster than me, so I can't do that, or he this, and that. But in reality, if you're here to do something, you have some sort of purpose on this planet. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you're alive in today's time, currently, right now, and it's to do or influence or to be, to create, to do something, and you just gotta spend the time and peel back the layers and find what that truly is. And once you do, you start doing that, and then it doesn't matter how someone else does it or whatever. You can learn from other people, and you can grow and get whatever. You can collaborate, and because not one person can do everything. We need a collaboration of everyone to be able to accomplish world peace and harmony and a collective society and a loving world. So I hope that helps in some way. But a lot of people you get ushered in this thing, and it's not really anyone's fault, because people, depending how everyone grows up differently, kids become parents teach their kid, and the cycle goes like that. Then you're in the school system, and in the school system you're in this place that for years of your life you get put where you get told when you can eat, told when you can go to the bathroom, told where to go, told what to do. So much very similar to the prison system, very similar. We'll get into that. I probably already did get into that at one point in time on this in the past year, but moving on. The kids, they're in this place, and then it's not like you can go and there's if you're in art, there's all this different art stuff you can do. You still get dragged into these other things like math and whatever, and it's why is the person who is is being an actor, why are they forced to take calculus or whatever? They should be working on a movie or blah 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 in school. And then the people who are supposed to be developing technology and doing that stuff, they'll align in those things, but we get stuck in this thing. And then you get to the point where you get to the end of school and you're 17, 18. You haven't really learned it. They haven't really taught you anything valuable to finding yourself. It's just they're teaching you how to become an employee, or and push you into the system. And then you get to the point where it's either you get a job or you go to college. And if you graduate high school and you don't do anything, people look at you like you're a bum, right? You're not, you graduated high school or you didn't, and you're not doing anything. If you graduate and you got a job, they're like, okay, yeah, you got a job. And depending on what job it is and how that job gets put into someone's mind, whether they classified it as, will be where they view you in the level. And then if you go to college, then you have this 4-year thing, this 4-year vacation where people they're like, oh, I'm in college. People they don't, they think you're doing good, and they're not, oh man, he's working on cars or whatever, or doing whatever, right? It's he's in college. He's growing up to do something, right? So, but then you leave college, and then you either use your degree and you, depending whatever, and you get a job. But then you're in this job, and then if you go to college, you spend another 4 or 5 years, and it's a little different because you have freedoms or whatever, but you still have to follow whatever they're teaching, and then you get sucked into the world, and then eventually, you're eventually, if you can't live with your parents anymore, you got to find a place to live, you got to pay rent, this and that. You might find the person you're supposed to be with, you might have kids now, and now you need money because you got to support your kids and blah blah blah. Now you get put in this cycle, and then but you got to work 40 hours a week, maybe 50, 60, you get the OT. Boom boom, you got to sleep 8 hours a day. You got to spend time with your loved ones, blah blah blah. And then eventually you get to this point where you spread yourself to where you have no time for yourself or to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, you know, because and then when you get to that time, you're so tired or whatever, you just want to relax, you just chill, you watch TV or whatever, you know, and then you're back in this thing, and then before you know it, time goes down the line. Now you're in your 30s, your 40s, and then it's hard to jump back into that energy and get to now. Anytime, any point, anyone can find and change how they live, right? But or what their focus is and their perspective. But then it's like, but how much time did you spend in this thing? And then now, how expensive is your house? Like, how did you go above your means? Did you like, are you living your life based off this money that you're making now and shit like that? And then it gets to the point where it's like, you've built a career in this place, and how can you now justify leaving this career you spent 15 years doing, and you're 5 years away from pension and retirement and all this stuff, you know, or like when you do retire, you'll be all right, you know, things like that. And it's like you get to this point, but then now you're 40, 45, and now now it's like, how much time do you have to divulge into those things? What did you do a thing that was taxing on your body? You know, mentally, where you at? How, like, blah, blah, blah. So there's so many things. So it's like it's easy. It's easy to watch people follow into that thing. And you know, I wasn't like, when I interned at Enterprise. Like, I remember going into the like that. It was like the internship. And I remember going to the training, and then, you know, you learn about Enterprise and you learn about the procedures and blah, blah, blah. But in between, they have these points where they bring in people who are like 20 years in, and they start telling you like, oh, how great their life is. Like, boom, they get this much vacation, they're making this much, they got a nice house, blah, blah, blah. They're good. They get, they just get to take a car off the lot, company car. You don't need to buy a car. You don't need to pay for gas. Like, you're good on that sense. So as far as your car stuff, you're always good, you know. And boom, and then you're like, and I remember being there like, oh yeah, I could do that. Like, oh yeah, like, I'm sure I'll be good at, like, I'll do all right here and blah blah blah. And oh, that's pretty good. That's a lot of days off a year and blah blah. And then that day I walked out the building and I was like, wait, what? Like, I don't want to fucking do this for 20 years, and I'm not here to do that. And like, I knew I wanted to make the music, and but I didn't know how everything was going to turn out and where it would be now. But just like at the time, this is 2006, 17, 18. I'm like, I don't want to fucking go. I don't want to do this, you know? So then, and I did the internship and I graduated, and I came down here near Atlanta, and I got a letter of recommendation from my area manager and ever, and then we went to Canada for a couple months, and I came back and applied and blah blah blah, and then I ended up not getting it. And then when I ended up not getting it, I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Because I literally was like, I'm gonna get it. Like, I graduated, I got a good thing, I already worked, like, I already got the end, like, I already felt, you know what I mean? But then to not get it, it was like, oh shit. But if I would have done it, then I would have been these past whatever, like, in that 40 hours a week, versus right now I work 3 days and I live, and I don't, and I'm off for 4. So it's like I'm off more than I work, you know? So I'm living more than I work. That wouldn't be the case. I would be in that, and I probably had more money right now, but I probably would have a lot less music, or a lot less direction, or a lot less progression on this side of my life, and this where I feel accomplished and fulfillment, you know? So, but in that time, I was like, oh shit, like, I can see how they get you, like, but people who need structure and both, like, I'm not knocking Enterprise. Enterprise is a great company, but, you know, I'm just saying, like, I felt that, like, they were good. They were like, I felt, and then I could see why people would be whatever. But then time goes on. Now you're 15 years down the game, and you're trying to get to that 20-year mark and blah blah blah. And so I can definitely understand why people are caught in this cycle. However, there's that thing where eventually or hopefully before you jump into this, you have that thought, maybe I can do this, or maybe this, but this is what I really want to do, and you do that, And what if you're working in a company or doing whatever, if it aligns with what you love and what you're here to do, like, I'm not saying that working like a job or whatever is bad. I'm just saying that a lot of the society we're built off is to trap you into this system, to because the school system is built to create a working economy. Sit in class, sit down for 8 hours a day. You get an hour for you have lunch, recess, right? That's an hour. You're in school. You're there for an hour a day or 8 hours a day or whatever. Told when to come, told when you can leave. Hour, you get lunch and blah blah blah. And then now you grow up. Now you're in the office. You're there for how many days a week and blah blah blah. And there's some jobs that people, like, I'm sure people love their job and whatever, and I'm not knocking anything that at all. I'm just saying that even if we didn't have a system that was so pushed, like, people would still find, the people who want to do that stuff would still find that way. It's just the people who don't want to be there, or this person, he's supposed to be a inspirational speaker, or this person, he's supposed to create the new spice combination for this chicken taco or whatever, but he's stuck in working at Enterprise and he's not making no tacos. Whatever the thing is, like, I know that I'm here to do this. I have the music. I've been thinking about the comedy stuff. I got the movie idea, and I got the short film idea. So executing on those, but I just know, I've found, so I'm content, maybe not having more money than I would have if I would have worked at one of these corporations or whatever. But I'm also fine. I'm also happy knowing that I have the stuff I have. I have these 52 episodes that people can go watch, and hopefully more people tune in, and we grow and we keep expanding, and I become more fluid and more whatever each time, to versus having more money. And yeah, I might have more money, maybe I have a nicer car, but that to me, that shit doesn't matter, So back to the comparison thing, it's there's no reason to compare yourself to anyone else. You should just be comparing yourself to where you are now versus where you were before, and where do you want to be? Where do you want to keep going? What are you aiming to get to? And that's what you should be thinking about, because everyone's got a different path. Some people are meant to run fast and then they slow down later. Some people are supposed to be slow in the end and they move fast, or some people in the middle. Everything's got a purpose. The bees are here to pollinate. The fish are here. There's fish in the ocean that are here to help the coral reefs. The coral reefs are here to keep the CO2 in the ocean. The trees are here to help breathe oxygen, or to give off oxygen so we can breathe. The sun is here to give light, to bring life to the earth. Everything's got the sun compared itself to the moon and had a bad day. You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, this whole cornfield doesn't grow because the sun wants to go hide and be like, nah, I want to be like the moon, and what I'm saying, I want to control the waves now, but there's this thing that the sun is there, the moon is a little hard. Forget it. The sun is there, the trees are there. They're here for a reason, and they're doing that, and that's why, and I think that's why we are all here for a reason too. There's a reason why you're here in this time versus, being 20. I'm 28. Being 28 in 2000 versus 2024 is a different thing, So, but overall, I feel like this is definitely a testament, proof of that you can do it. If you watch every episode, you can see the growth in it. Right now I'm using my phone versus Jason. Jason has a nicer phone, so the camera might not be as good as some of the other episodes. But overall the progression is there. Like I can definitely go back and see it and watch and see the progression. It's only can continue, as far as this platform, the music and everything too. So for me, just knowing that I have these different things, like it's a little simpler for me in some ways, but also it wasn't this simple before. Like in 2014, 15, 16, like I was figuring this stuff out, and it took, up until I graduated. I was even in school, like I didn't make pretty much any music. If you take the amount of music I made from 2014 to 2019, and then you take the amount of music I made from 2019 to 2024, it's like astronomically more, So it's like I can see when I was more distracted or more in the system of the world. But at that time I was very focused. I was like around a lot of people, so I was more focused on others than I was myself. And then when I got here, I realized that I had spent so much time focused on others, I had missed out on focusing on myself in some ways. So then it became focusing on myself, and then the Oceans on Arrival, being born and growing to where it is now, and to be where we are now. I've been rocking this T-shirt for 2 years now, so maybe it's time to think of a new design or to start getting ready for the next wave of merch. We have the plan for next year in the music, and we know we have direction, right? So that's all that I'm saying is I hope that whoever's watching has their direction, or if you don't, I hope you spend some time trying to find it or try different things. And just basically, let me say this: what would you do if money didn't exist? Like hold on, what would you do if you had enough money to have enough money to eat the food that you can currently afford every day, the access to water that you currently have every day, and if it's not as good, like just that where it's comfortable, like you have enough, I can eat today, I can drink water today, or drink a soda if I want, or whatever, or juice, and then you have a place to stay, and you have like the things you need, right? If you didn't have to work to pay for the necessities of life, like if we could have food, water, it was community based or whatever. It's just work with the idea. Food, water, community based, you're good. So if you want to make money, it's to go like travel and do other things, like whatever. But as far as like your day to day, you're fine. What would you do with your time? Like, would you still go work 40 hours? My friends that say they play video games a lot. When I ask them that question, their first thing is, "Oh, I'll play video games," and I do feel because they love them, so I do feel that. But also, I feel like they haven't had those 40 hours a week, in a long time to be like, "Oh, I have these 40 hours." Maybe they use 35 of them playing video games, but what about the other 5? Like, what are we doing? But then we never get there because we don't even have the time to even think about it. So I think that is the first step of the question. If you didn't have to go to work so you could survive the day, like you would wake up, you have shelter, you can go, you have food, and you can drink, and you have water. So the basic necessities of life, if you had those and you didn't have to go to work for those, you just had those, what would you do with your time? And I think that's a good place to start, to just think about, what would I do? What would I spend? And then, I asked Trey and Kaylee the last time I saw them, I said, if you had enough, like, if you could, in any moment, I said this, if you could snap your fingers right now and have anything you wanted, and not like, okay, like, I want a mansion and blah, 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 just like right now, you need, like, what I would have it right now. And I told them that mine would be enough money so I don't have to go to work. And that's bare minimum. That's all I would want. Because if I had enough money where I didn't have to go to work, I could do everything I'm doing right now. I'd just have more time. I'd have more time to go to the studio. I'd have more time more hours that because if I'm at work, this podcast can't happen between every day, every week that I work, the schedule I work. There's no podcast happening in those hours because I can't. I'm at work. So maybe on one of those days it's better to record. I feel better on one of those days to record whatever, but I can't because I gotta go to work. So if I have more time, if I didn't have to go to work, I would have just more time to do the things that I'm already doing. So for me, but then for someone else, you know, I don't know. I don't know what everyone's got their own thing. Maybe a car that runs properly, shit like that, So, maybe that's also something to think about if you could and then if it's realistic, like, how do I get that, So for me now, I'm just like, I think different avenues is one of my thoughts. Like, don't put all my eggs in one basket. Like, spread myself into different avenues, and maybe it's easier to make money off multiple avenues than just one but maybe one of them is more fruitful than all the other ones, so then it's like, but balancing your time, so, and there's probably time that I let go to waste, probably. I mean, last week I've been congested and I felt a little sick, so, I'm not perfect. I let time go to waste. I probably could have made more music in the time where, done these pods on time, like, different things like that. But everything happens how it's supposed to happen, and we're here right now, feeling good. From where we started to where we are now is definitely different, but the same idea and the same reason why I started this thing is still there, and that's to have real conversation, connect with others, provide a place where people can be a fly on the wall to the things that we're already talking about, the conversations we're already having, and to hopefully inspire others to push these thoughts forward, or to share their own thoughts and feelings, or to connect with others, to bring other people around, to connect bigger. Because at the end of the day, I think that love, connection, peace, harmony, truth, following your dreams, completing purpose, spending time with the people you love and the people who care about you, those are the most important things, and that's the goals, so nothing has changed in my mind from the first time I started, maybe my approach, or, the way it's done, or the amount of people or whatever each time is different than how I envisioned it going is different, but I think that I still believe that that it's happening exactly how it's supposed to. I feel confident in that. I'm happy to be able to do it. I'm happy that 4 people listened to it in the first 10 hours it was out. 1 comment. I feel like maybe I didn't lock in to that response is good this time, but I do think that I'm not the most educated on politics. I just see what I see. I read the signs. I understand. I look at history, and I also just do it off feeling. And I feel like I am good at reading the vibe and reading the energy that's coming out, kind of seeing the subliminal messages, subconscious talk. I feel like I'm not probably, I might not be the best, but I'm not comparing myself to, I can get better at it, but also I feel like I'm good. So I just feel like I'm aware enough to see that it's bullshit. I'm aware enough to see that if you've seen Harry Potter, the Daily Prophet and all that shit, lying on Harry and Dumbledore because Voldemort's back and shit like that, like, and they don't want people to know, like, there's so much distractions in the world, and we tend to allow those distractions to take our time, influence our lives, change the way we think, feel. You might open your phone and see a video that makes you feel sad. Now you feel sad, and that's why I don't have like really any notifications on my phone and things like that, because I don't want to be in a thought over here and then like Lamar Jackson throws a touchdown pass to Mark Andrews. Here's the highlight, ding. Like, when I want to go watch, when I'm thinking like, oh, like, let me go watch Lamar Jackson highlights, or like, oh, let's go see how the game went, or let's rewatch the game or whatever, then I'll go. But like, I don't need to be like over here having like this beautiful thought, and then all of a sudden now I'm like, oh, football, because the phone decided to give me like, think about football now, you know. And then, but I do have like calls, because I feel like not many people will like call all the time now. Like a lot of people will text first before they call, but if someone does call, it's like more or less like important, you know. And so that's a good one to have on, because then it's like, but then the text messages I don't have on, because then it's like when I feel like going to read the text message, and then if I chose to read it, then I chose on my time to go. But if it, like, I could, same thing, you could be in a thought and then you get a text that throws you off, or you have to respond, or it's time consuming or whatever. Versus like if someone calls me, then I know it's like they want to connect instantaneous. Now they like, there's something happening, whether good, bad, this, that, blah blah blah. So having like having like the phone call, like that's definitely a notification I keep on, you know. But mostly all the other notifications, I just shut off, because they influence your thought. They send you whatever, like, hey, did you see this? If you got like a marketplace thing up, like, hey, come buy this. Or Prize Picks will do it. We'll be like, bet now, like, we'll give you $20 if you bet on fucking esports and shit. It's like, my first thought when I see that is like, then I reread it, and I'm like, And the biggest thing is like if I'm not in the mode, like, I'm not trying to spend the time to like trying to find bets and plays, like, or force it, you know what I mean? I'm just like, on the days that I'm supposed to win money from this shit, I feel like I'm trying to get to the point where it's like, hey, today's the day to fucking to bet. Today's the day, bet. Yo, they like, do it. That's when I'm trying to, versus like every day trying to make money off, you know, betting and stuff. But Prize Picks will send you the notifications. Then when it now pops my head, oh, should I bet today? Blah blah blah. You know, versus like, and then if I do bet, it changes my whole day. 'Cause now I'm thinking about, oh, did the bet hit? Oh, I've missed by one. Oh my god, like, so close. You know, all those things. It's just, there's too much distractions, too much influence. You know, sometimes it's good to just not be influenced by anything, not be distracted by anything. Just have your own pure thoughts, creation, feeling, you know, emotions, thought process, you know, things like that. Yeah, man. Feel like I got this fucking Roku shit going. Even now, Madagascar 3. You know, changing up whatever I'm thinking about. But, shit, who cares? Gonna open your phone anyway. I'm gonna open my phone after this, probably. And whatever Instagram shows me is Instagram. You get influenced in some way by it. So now it's like, how fast can you catch yourself scrolling and realizing, what are you doing? And then when you get to that, what are you doing? Nothing. Oh, wasting time. Oh, what should I be doing? You know, then you get to there, then it's like, you know, that's I think that's for me where I'm at. Like, how fast can I? Because I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I don't scroll on Instagram. I don't, because I do, and I'll waste time on. I've wasted time today doing it, for sure. You know, and it's like, and yeah, sometimes I find a clip of a pod or something, and I go watch it, and there's sometimes it is like nice, or it is entertaining or whatever, but for the most time it's just wasted time. They're sending me the shit I've already seen, you know. Nothing new, you know. Nothing that is gonna help me or progress me or whatever. More just hinder me, distract me, keep me stationed, stuck in the same old shit, you know. So I won't say that I don't, but I will say that now. But I've been better. I've been growing. I've been getting because there was a point in time where I was like, nah, like I didn't have the Twitter app, I didn't have Instagram app, I had Snapchat because that was like a more communication tool, you know. But that was it. So I like didn't, But then I don't know. Just eventually, it's almost like anything. Like if you stop, if you stop drinking and then you start drinking again, like eventually it'll get more and more and more. If that's your thing, or if I smoke, like if I stop smoking and then I restart, it'll be like small ones, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then now you're smoking bigger joints or spliffs or whatever versus like small, because that's just what happens, you know. So when I'm on the thing, it's like the more I do it, sometimes you get to that point where now I'm like, how long do you go for? Like, oh, I do 2 hours and before I go to bed or whatever. So how do we wind it? Like, so when do you catch yourself? And then when you do catch yourself, do you say, whatever, and keep going for even longer? Or do you go, no, I should do something different? And then what is that? And whatever that thing is, doesn't matter. But getting to the point where you're reeling in that time, that scroll time. Because, like, the hours add up, hours add up. And then all of a sudden, you got to go to work. You got to deal with this. You got to do that. Oh, you just scrolled for 2 hours. Now you only got an hour to yourself versus 3. And, what am I going to do now? Oh, I need 2 hours to do that. I only got 1. Fuck. Well, if I didn't scroll for 2 hours, I would have had 2 and 1 to just fucking even have extra time. So I think that's what I meant. Like, really being honest with myself of like, when am I wasting time? Why am I wasting time? What is causing me to do this? Why am I not doing something else or doing something productive? Oh, I've done a bunch of productive shit today. It's fine. But why are we scrolling? Let's play Minecraft. You know what I mean? Let's watch Harry Potter. Like, why do we need to be scrolling on this thing of influence? Like, let's at least choose the influence that we want. Because when you open up your phone, you're signing a contract that says we're going to show you whatever we want. Like, you don't control what you see. Besides the things you click on, your algorithm starts giving you more of, right? So, but it's like you're not. So in some ways you do, but like you don't control if they're going to send you a dog video that's a happy dog video or a sad dog video. You'll get a dog video, but you don't control if it's happy or sad. And then depending if it's happy or sad, it might influence what you're thinking about, what you're doing, how you're feeling, Or you could have been having a great day, now you just saw this fucking dog get run over, and now you're, like, sad about it, And it's like, but we chose to open the phone, though, right? So it's like, whose fault? Obviously there's this system, there's this thing for eyes, attention, time spent on each website, how many clicks did you get, likes, views, blah, blah, blah. There's obviously that system going on. And whether you argue like that's wrong or whatever, like it's there, but we don't have to. You don't have to do it. You don't have to have an Instagram page. You don't have to, But then in this day and age, like, but there really isn't there's no. Twitter used to be where I saw Mick Jenkins actually talking about this. If you guys don't know who Mick Jenkins is, awesome artist. The Waters, it's like 10-year anniversary. I definitely recommend listening to that. Nostalgic listening to it when I listen to it. But Mick Jenkins was talking about how Twitter got dismantled in some way because they took away like the blue checks. Like you can just buy your blue check now, so you're taking away so not only did people have to get verified, but like news sources had to get verified, right? And then during the election, but at the time, but then also they did censor people, right? You get censored and you get shadow banned and shit, right? But there's times where it was like when like the stuff that happened in with Ferguson, you got you got this happening, and then the news saying this, but then on Twitter you're finding out that this is happening, and it was like, oh shit, you're getting the truth on Twitter, right? But then now it's like throughout the last election to now, that's kind of gone away. So there's no really like, so yeah, like in some ways you can get information from X or whatever, or Instagram or whatever, but at the same time it's not like there's no place to go where it's like it's a fair chance to see anybody's thought or feeling or whatever. There's not a fair chance. There's algorithms built in, there's ads built in, there's things, people that they want you to see. The doorway is going to open up to your Instagram feed, to that spotlight. It's going to go in there, and the people that they don't want, they're not going to get that spotlight. They're going to be hidden deep. You got to actually find them. But who's randomly searching up a random username that you don't even like, just random, like let me search up AZERVEX and then see what pops up. Like, no, who's doing that? You know what I mean? So it's not a fair game. It's not a fair place. It's not a fair system. So do we even need it? But just one of those things that becomes part of people's lives, and it's so big. It's like, how do you cut them out? Like, how do you, like soda? How do I cut soda out? People who are like, I don't even drink soda anymore. Or I never really did. Like, it's like, oh, okay, so people are surviving without it, but how? How do you get it? How do you do it? How do you not go on Instagram? How do you not whatever? And then on the flip side, it's like, I'm trying to make sure people see the podcast come out, or this is as time, like in some ways it's marketing. So okay, how do we only use it for that? It's like, how do you stay disciplined that when I go on it, I'm gonna go post and I'm gonna get off? Like, how do you get to that point? That's the questions. How do we do it? How do we get to the point where we don't need to go to work to survive for the necessities of life, and we can have time to just do what we want to do, what we're here to do? How do we get there? How do we find out what we want to do, or what we're supposed to do? How? Those are the questions. And then it becomes, in certain ways, letting the answers come to you, But the first thing is looking, You may never find the gold spoon if you never, or you may never find that needle in the haystack if you never look. But now you're like, wait, where is it? Where is the haystack? What am I finding? Oh, the needle. Oh, there's the haystack. I've walked past that haystack fucking for 10 years in a row now. Oh, and then you spend time. It might take however long it takes, but then you find it. Eventually you find it. That's the key. That's the thing that they don't tell you. Eventually you do find that needle in the haystack. Eventually. And some people are in a minute. Some people are in a year. Some people are in whatever. But it doesn't matter who or when they did it. When they did this. When they were that. What they did. As long as you know that you're doing what you can do, and you're operating on your level, and on the days that you might not be operating on full capacity, you are aware of it, you figure out why, and you whatever, and you progress and you grow. And then the more you focus on becoming a better individual, together we all become better individuals, and then a bunch of better individuals become a better unit, better community, because you love yourself so much that you love others too, and we're all on this planet. We all share the same oxygen and shit, and some people have different industries that are polluting the skies and different things in different places, and everyone's got a different how they grew up and where they are, how they live. But it comes down to, we all are human beings, and they want you to forget that you're a being. They just like, oh, we're humans, and that's a elephant. But the elephant is also a being. That is an entity. You are an entity. You have a soul. You have a spirit. And there's a lot of distractions and a lot of things to keep you stuck in the matrix, or what they say, or the third dimensional things, and material items and status and, you know, things like that. But in reality, what really comes down to, that's not the important things. And sometimes like it is but it is easy to get distracted in some ways, you know. And sometimes you can't help it if you're out, whatever, the ads. If you're watching TV, you can't. If you don't watch TV, then you don't get the commercials, you know. If you pay for your music, you don't get ads or whatever. But if you're on YouTube, you're gonna get an ad, you know. And you can't. If you're literally sitting watching the Roku screen go by, there's an ad. Go watch Madagascar, you know. It's like you can't avoid. If you go down the street, there's gonna be billboard. There's gonna be things. There's always gonna be distractions. There's always gonna be influences. There's always gonna be these things, and we have to discern. But we have to decipher between what's good for us and what's bad for us, and what do we need, what do we not need. What is that billboard sign showing, and what is it saying underneath? You know, what is the Lion King? The Lion King has the lions, but there's a message behind the lions. So, yeah, this billboard has this, but what is the message behind it? You know, yeah, like there's 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 a lot in each moment. There's a lot to see. It's just about what you can process and you can perceive in each moment, and then together we can put everything. We can have a more grand idea of life, because together I gave you what I saw, you gave me what you saw. I can't see everything, but together we can, and that's the beauty of it, you know. There's a movie called They Live. I definitely recommend watching that. If you got to this point in the pod, episode 52, 1 year, shout out. If you got to this point, I definitely recommend watching They Live. And the point I'm making about the billboard and stuff like that, I was visualizing that movie when I was saying it, but I don't really want to. It's hard to, in some ways, it's hard to describe. But that is a great movie. It's called They Live. It's from the 80s. Roddy Piper, whatever. He's the character. He's like the main character, right? Protagonist. So I definitely I just recommend watching that. They Live again. It's called They Live. So hell yeah. Yeah, man. Definitely back-to-back days being by myself is tough, because I feel like I said whatever yesterday. So now it's like, how do you find some new stuff? And I had some like a whatever, like interesting day or whatever, but nothing too much to be like have so much more to say today than I did yesterday. It's usually the same stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I've said today, maybe, or even in time, that is repeated throughout the pod or whatever. But, I think that sometimes things need to be heard maybe more than once. And if I said them then, I'm saying them now. It's still true. It's still raining. I'm still being honest. So I think that maybe even that is showing, like, oh, look how long he's been saying this for. Stuff like that. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm on a progressive state. I feel like I'm growing. I feel like the way I see things is been expanded more. My perspective is a little different. In some ways, I'm a little colder, I guess. I feel, I feel colder, I guess. I feel like, it's like snow miser and heat miser. Like, I feel like more on the snow miser side than I do heat. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like I've gotten, for whatever. There's a reason why everything happens, and I've just been kind of like processing the things I've been through in the past little bit, the things that happened beforehand, things I've done, and just kind of processing it all together and just trying to find, just kind of like, getting to the fact of like finding the meanings of the reasons why things are happening now, and then why things I don't understand, being okay with letting them go and waiting for the answers to come, you know. But and then honestly, just to keep joy in my life, I feel like I've allowed joy to leave the station for too long, longer than I probably have in a long time, So I'm really just trying to figure out how do I get joy back into the station and stay there. Um, and I think it just takes not letting myself get influenced by negative energy and getting, just trying to stay within my vibration. I think that's the key. Stay within my vibration, because that is where I vibrate naturally. I do feel the best when I'm joyous and laughing and cracking jokes and whatever, and just enjoying the pure fact that I'm existing currently, And there's been things like being behind on this, and there's always like stuff that weighs on you. So maybe how do I take whatever's weighing too much? How do I get that weight off? And then figure out how do I balance it where maybe you put some stuff down. You don't carry everything in your backpack. Some things can stay on the shelf while you make your rounds places. And then you can come back and you can deal with them and whatever, So just trying to be lighter, maybe exercising more and using all my muscles and getting my body getting my body healthier. I did say that on my birthday that in 2 years I want to be like the healthiest I've ever been, which is 30. So I'm trying to I want to, in a year and a half or year and 7-8 months or whatever, I want to feel the best I've ever felt, and be in the best shape that I've ever been in. So maybe part of it is now the start of that in getting to a peaceful place within my soul where my body feels good, I feel good, joy's around, operating on the level that I can operate on, continuing my progression, making good music, and then continuing helping where I can help, influencing where I can influence, continue growing this pod, get locked in on the jokes, and I got a movie, man. I do have a movie. It's just about writing the storyboard and waiting for the day that it can come to life, and I got one. So I think overall I'm in a great position. I think that's why when I feel like if I'm scrolling, like why am I scrolling so long, or if I took too long to realize I've done it, whatever, and it's like maybe I feel a little hard on myself because I have so many things I could be doing. But then there's a balance of like you can't just work like do and have no time to rest, have no time to relax because you're gonna burn out. So there's a balance. But if all you do is relax and all you do is whatever, then nothing ever gets done, and then the relaxation is no longer relaxation because you're uneasy, you're unfulfilled, and whatever, and then now you're in this loop. So you gotta feed yourself, feed yourself, do things that fulfill you, give life more meaning, and those things might not always come forcefully. They come naturally, like being an uncle created more meaning in my life than I did have before. Not that before I had a meaningless life, but there's there's more that I see that why am I here? Why I'm here. There's a whole nother realm I have now, so, and it's like, I don't, like, in each moment, I don't want to look back in 10 years and be like, oh, I wasn't present, or why did I let my negative, why did I be negative, and then I saw it going, I saw me projected onto the kids, and blah, 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 and all the things that, and it's not my kids, but also, like, want to be like the good uncle or whatever, but also knowing like how I have a relationship with my uncle, like where could it be stronger, where did making sure that I'm here for as long as I can be here for, do the things that I'm tasked to do, and continue on progressing, following this dream, being a role model, trying to just overall help, make good decisions, make the right decision. Like yesterday I was talking about being at work, knowing that me not taking that table and her making $100 extra and her leaving happy and everyone else was happy, the vibes was higher. Like I made the right choice, like knowing that I'm on the right path, I'm doing the right things, and not to worry so much, not to worry so much about what isn't or what's not, or what isn't as good or whatever. Like it can get better, it will get better if you just work at it, progress, and try your best in each moment. Whatever you could do in that moment, that's what you could do, and try your best. And then if it's not where you think it should be, come back to it and do it again. But there's no such thing as perfect. It's just at the end of the day, when you get to that rocking chair and you get to that moment when it's time to move to the next, can you honestly say that I did everything I could and I'm proud? And that's how I feel. That's what I want to be able to say, that I did everything I could. I'm proud of what I did, and I enjoyed my existence. And I think that's just what I really be, thinking about or striving for, and then all through it, building connection and having people around that, love you and you have a good time, and just creating a place where when you wake up in the morning you smile, versus not. So I think that's a good way to kind of leave it. A little short and sweet. Episode 52. We've done a year. It officially marks it. So I hope it inspires someone else to work on whatever they want to work on, or continue on what they're doing, or to show that here I am a year later, still doing it, ups and downs, we're still here, still confident, still feeling good about it, and knowing that I'm on the right track and it's all going to work out how it's supposed to. So I hope that I gave some good words of light, encouragement these past 2 days. Anyone who watches them, thank you so much. Thank you so much for commenting. I hope I gave something there. But I don't know. I feel good. I'm excited for what's to come. Officially year 2 on the Ocean Waves journey. And anyone who's a part of it, anyone who's gotten this far, who's riding with it, who supports, I really do appreciate you. So thank you so much, and I love you. And I hope you have a good weekend. And we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 12, back on track for episode 53. So appreciate y'all. Ocean Waves, episode 52, 1 year anniversary. I'm Indigo Reyen, the Navigator. Thank you so much for watching. Oceans on Arrival, all streaming platforms. And if you support my Six Flags, 2 things. If you support my Six Flags rant or feeling from last week, please go on my Instagram, Reyen.ooa, Reyen.ooa, to my reel. Go repost it, and then tag, when you repost, tag Six Flags Over Georgia, and see if we can get some traction going. Maybe, who knows, And then from the last 2 times, if you got to the end of the pod and you see this, comment, what do you look forward to most every day? Appreciate y'all. Indigo Reyen Navigator, Ocean Waves, episode 52. Yup.